How's it going, guys? Jaime Rodriguez with Pure Image Design and jrodairbrush.com. You guys got to check me out on Facebook. It's Facebook.com/Pure Image Design. Phoenix, Arizona at the Arizona Mills Mall. I'm an airbrush artist with over 17 years experience. I got a lot of videos on YouTube. If you haven't seen them all yet, look to your right or below. I got over 100 videos, all supporting the airbrush industry, as well as sharing my approach and technique on airbrushing. I don't give all the secrets, but I do show you what I do. And the reason why I don't give it all is because there's a lot of us out there trying to make a living off of DVDs. We all are starving artists trying to make it get ahead, and that's what it's all about. So I share a little, but not too much, because I also have a DVD of my own. But today we're going to talk about how to keep your airbrush running very good, how I keep my airbrush running super smooth like a Cadillac all the time. Now the advice I give you is how I do it and what works best for me. This may not work for you, but to me this gets the best results, period. The best and smoothest results when it comes to having a smooth airbrush, and overall long term you'll have a better performing airbrush. Let's first start off with some real key products from Badger Airbrush. First off, we're going to talk about the product that is a filter that goes right over your tube of the paint. As you can see, this airbrush has the filter with the cap that slides onto this, and this filters all the junk that'll accumulate. A lot of times paint will build up in the bottle, and especially at the top here on the inside, and then it starts dropping below. And this keeps that thick, gloopy booger paint from getting in the airbrush. So it's a great invention. Badger Airbrush sells these. I use them on all my guns. They work very good. So that's one important factor to a good running gun. That's good, consistent paint flowing out of the gun. If you got clogs, boogers, thick chunks of paint coming through your gun, then you're not going to be getting optimal performance. This helps inhibit that from happening. Alright, very cool. Buy 20, 30 of them. Use them on all your guns. The cool thing about them is you can cut them down to fit wider bottles. And this one here is a chopped down version. See the screen? It was up here, but now it's about halfway cut down, and you can fit it in the shorter bottles. Okay, so that's the cool thing about that. They usually fit right through the center here, but if they don't, you can chip some of the edge off, cut it off with the knife, the plastic, like I did here, so it can fit in these guys. Okay. Second most important thing, when you get an airbrush, take it apart. You want to get your airbrush needle juice from Badger. That's what I like to use, and you want to sit there and submerge this into that needle juice. And when I mean submerge, I mean just like this. Submerge all of it in there. Once you're done, you want to make sure this gets submerged. Let it get it all over it. Get it all over there. Excuse the red paint, but you get the idea. And then you stick it in here. And once you stick in there, you want to fill this up with needle juice as well. That way it's holding all that oil in there, and you'll notice it on the trigger as you pull back. It's a real cool tip. Then screw it into your airbrush just like you see here. Add a little bit here at the trigger, and voila, you got yourself a very smooth working airbrush. You can adjust the tension on the airbrush, and all you got to do is take off the handle. See that handle back there? Just simple as that. You just take off the handle, and then you expose the needle as well as the rocker assembly. And this whole rocker is right there. That's what we've been working on. You know, once you expose that, all you got to do is what I'm going to show you now. Is you adjust the spring tension on the gun. So let me show you a gun that has the spring tension adjusted. Now basically you want enough pressure shooting forward against the trigger of the airbrush that allows the tension to be pushed forward on that trigger. If you have it open too much, then there's not going to be enough tension pushing against that trigger. So what I do is I have about a dime size in between here and here, And what that does is creates just enough tension to push that trigger forward very lightly. That way when you're pulling back on the trigger of the airbrush, you're not trying to pull back real hard. You don't got to use much force at all because the tension is very light. And if you use any of my airbrushes, you'll notice how smooth my airbrushes perform, and that's because of all this that I'm showing you here. The lube, the tension adjustment, and so on. Thirdly, this is the tip and trick. Very important. You get yourself some Teflon tape. Okay? You cut yourself a very thin sliver. And I'm going to show you right there. See that piece of tape? Cut yourself a thin sliver. And you put it at the front of the airbrush. See that? See what I did there on the velocity? Same thing with the Vega or the Omni. And that'll seal up any potential air leaks that will also, you know, inhibit the flow spray pattern of the airbrush. So keeping things nice and tight, the air secure, that way you have maximum siphon power running through that gun. Very, very key. And this is something I've been doing for years. It's such a small little detail, guys, but it helps out. It can increase your airbrush's detail as much as 60%, even more, by doing that little simple trick there. Okay? So, you know, you can get these products. I think webAirbrushes.com sells the filters as well as the lubricant. Okay, Coast Airbrush for sure sells this stuff. I'm not sure if they sell the strainer, but I know webAirbrushes.com sells it. Use coupon code JRODSENTME and they'll give you 40% off. And that's on all Badger, Thayer, and Chandler products, including their paint. I also run this filter. That way it keeps all my airline constantly clean. Any oil, especially if you're running silent compressors, this is essential. They have the quick disconnect hoses. It's an amazing feature. They also have this feature, it's called the pack valve. And I use it on all my hoses. Okay? This is the best thing on the market. Lasts the longest. I've used all brands, and this Badger pack valve lasts the longest, period. I've had this thing here for over a year and it's still going strong. Eventually they'll wear because I'm constantly moving from gun to gun. That's just natural for the metal to slowly wear away. But in terms of all the other products out there, nothing beats this product. Okay? So this is the foundation of getting a gun working optimally to its optimal performance. These are some of the techniques I shared with you guys on how to do so. You know, the key is, you know, cutting this tube here down to its size that it needs to be to fit the bottle. Badger makes these a little longer to fit 4-ounce bottles, so if you're trying to run a 2-ounce, you'll have to cut it. When you put it in the bottle, make sure the stem, if the bottle's here, the stem should be right about here. It should not be hitting the bottom of the bottle, because if it's hitting close, you're not going to get full siphoning power. So you want it just about 2 millimeters away from the bottom of the bottle. And then you slide this device right on, just like that. And again, this device works with shorter bottles. All you got to do is cut the screen down, put that red cap back on, then you're now down half the screen size, and you can run it on a smaller, shorter bottle. So we got that. Very important. Clean paint, smooth gun. Okay. We got this here. Lubricate as much as you can. This whole rocker assembly, spring, and this in here. You want to put a bunch in there and then load it and stick it in there, and you'll notice it's kind of like the motor of an engine. You know, it's lubricated very well, and it's holding the oil right in this little cylinder here. Okay, then the tension. You want to make sure, if you want a smooth working gun, you want a little bit of tension, so about a dime gap right there, just enough to have tension on that trigger. Okay. Threads. You want to make sure you put Teflon tape, just a thin sliver. That's all it needs on the threads. And for any threads in the front here, for that matter. Some have options for 2 threads, one here, and then there's an additional thread that covers the tip. And that's it. Voila. You can use beeswax, but beeswax melts. Teflon tape stays strong. It's solid. You're not going to have it melting in the hot sun. You get a lot more longevity, I find, and that's why I use Teflon tape. Guys, I hope this little quick tip helped you guys. I know this helped me over the years, and it's helped my airbrushing tremendously. Stay tuned, guys. I got a lot more coming. Catch you later.